Hello and welcome back to the MC Championship video. We were blessed with the MCC 25 teams last week, so let's discuss each team, analyze their strengths and weaknesses, and try to rank each one from last to first. And I say try because, wow, they're balanced. All thanks go to Scott's Major for these insane teams. A quick disclaimer, my discussion of each team is based purely on facts and statistics from past events. Nothing will be made up, and as for my ranking, it's all opinion based while remaining unbiased. So please, if you have something to say about these teams, then go ahead and join me down below in the comments. Share your thoughts on the MCC 25 teams. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because once again, it's my opinion, and yeah, I'm most definitely wrong with all of my placements because the teams are immaculately balanced. Also, there are so many possible combinations for to put each team, plus we don't know the game order, what games will even be in this event, and the coin multiplier therefore makes it impossible for me to get every single placement correct. But in previous videos I've managed to get just a couple right. Oh, and remember that only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. Do me a favor and check if you're subscribed, especially if you're new around here, so that you don't miss the latest MCC team analysis from me. With that out of the way, let's look at our MCC 25 teams. In last place, but by no means the worst team, the Red Rabbits, with Sapnap, Foolish Gamers, Ponk, and V Gumio. There should be fairly decent chemistry with this all-dream SMP team, especially with Foolish and Sapnap already teaming twice before, including the last event. Foolish has been improving massively since his debut in MCC 22 as a skilled mechanical player, also winning Pride 22 and non-canon event, which everyone on this team also played in. Gumio is generally a bottom 10 casual player, also teamed with Sapnap a couple times before, but you can never rule out their 15th place finish in MCC 19. Now, while Ponk doesn't play in MCC as often as the rest of his team, in his 4 canon events he hasn't slipped into the bottom 10. Statistically, the strongest team in the event for battle box and survival games, which comes as no surprise since Sapnap is the best in the event for both PvP games on average. And that's not all, again thanks to Sapnap, but also Ponk. The Red Rabbits are also the best parkour tag team in this event. Next up at 9th we have the Llamas with Pizza Hut, Captain Sparkle, Solidarity Gaming, and Ant Venom. We're seeing Jordan and Ant team again from the last event where their team finished 10th. Ant Venom in particular had a disappointing 39th place, but you always have to excuse the first event. I'm sure he's capable of performing higher, especially in Ace Race, which is one of the best games for this team. Pizza Hut was once one of the strongest players in the tournament, but his S tier prowess is certainly waning now as he sometimes drops out of the top 10. He's teamed with Solidarity many times for another rather inconsistent player. The last time he teamed with Pete he finished 40th, but usually you can expect to see him as an average player in most events. Thanks to Pete and Solidarity, Build Run is another top game for them, but Pete struggles with grid runners, and Ant Venom has never played it, so not all team communication games may work best for them. They are powerful movement competitors, being the best team in the event for holding the ball. Here's an interesting one to watch out for, the Orange Ocelots, with 5up, Hannah XX Rose, AMZ, and Red Velvet Cake. If I were to go off of pure team strength, this team would surely be last, but I've been proven wrong about teams similar to this one before, most recently the MCC 24 Cyan Coyotes. They surprised everyone with an incredible last game to push them up to 4th. Like Cyan 24, there's another new player, Velvet, who's only played in the Pride 22 event, yet still managed a respectable 14th individual placement with a dodgeball team. 5up could be a great leader for the team, with the exception of 2 well-owned top 10s in MCC 20 and 21. He's been performing below average, but can still set up impressive pre-event strats, particularly in team games as usual. Hannah's debut last event on Cyan 24 stumped most people with 15th individual after dedicated public practice, so perhaps she's set to improve at a similar rate to Purple's first few events. AMZ was also on Cyan 24, despite finishing bottom 10 in both their canon participations. Their performance in Pride 22, which was at a similar level to 5up and Velvet's numbers, leaves this team as maybe the largest wildcard. Since some of their best games are typically played late, such as Sands of Time, they could surpass their stats thanks to a multiplied boost. Now we have the Aqua Axolotls with Purple, Ranboo, Jack Manifold, and Snifferish. We see another duo return from MCC 24, this time Purple and Ranboo. Jack also played with Purple in MCC 21. Purple has been on a bit of a rampage with individual placements, placed second in back-to-back events, and is naturally one of the greatest movement players in MCC. Ranboo, on the other hand, hasn't been as lucky recently with individual placements and team standings, but he has been receiving some less competitive teams. Jack should be one of the main participants to look out for this event. His performances also greatly fluctuate based on the vibe of the team. Maybe top 25 isn't too much to ask from him, since he's done it before, and this is a team looking for the win for sure. Snifferish always hangs at the lower end of individual performances, however they did win their first ever event in MCC 21. Best team for Get the Other Side, with Purple being the #1 player in that game, and best team for grid runners. Besides that, Meltdown and Rocket Speed Rush are also solid options for this team to secure their place in Dodgeball. Almost at the halfway point now, 6th place are the Blue Bats with Illumina, False Symmetry, Elena EXE, and Polyscent Moon. Sadly, False Symmetry's streak of September wins doesn't convince me to place this team in the top 2, although I think her streak could motivate the team to perform at their very best. Illumina, the powerhouse that this team really needs, excels at literally every game type, including PvP, movement, and team and communication. Team with Elena in MCC 21 and False in MCCs 15 and 20. False and Pearl have got a large range of placements, although typically can expect to finish in the bottom half. Elena always bottom 10 individually, but massively helps with some of the team scores, particularly with Sands of Time. Therefore, as expected, this team is #1 in the event for Sands of Time, with Illumina and False being the 4th and 5th best players for this game on average, respectively. Not a huge surprise that they struggle in Sky Battle, but besides that, they are statistically average in most games, so should overall be a consistently performing team. Here we go, moving into the top 5 teams for this event, starting with the Pink Parrots, with Grian, Smager, Filza, and Wilbur Sut. Yes, Yes, it's the soccer duo we wanted, but every player has the potential to both outperform their stats or underperform. It's very hard to tell with these 4 unpredictable players. Grian and Smajors should be able to assist the others in build mod. Indeed, the Pink Parrots are the best build mod team in the event, not least because of Grian's micromanagement and Wilbur's floating. What the Pink Parrots particularly struggle with the most is PvP games. No one here is an exceptional combat leader, and while Grian occasionally does well in Sky Battle and Filza sometimes shines in survival games, it's best for them to avoid PvP where possible or play them all early. As well as being the second best grid runners team, they also display promising movement abilities, such as being the second best rocket speed rush team and third best hole in the wall team. Moving on to 4th place, which will be the Purple Pandas with Fruitberries, Awsamdude, Wisp and Eret. Team captain will definitely be Fruitberries, the incredible movement and PvP god with consistent top 10 individual finishes. Awsamdude is a little less consistent with placements, for example 33rd in MCC 21, jumping to 10th the very next event. Wisp sticks around the middle of the road in the few events he partakes in, and Eret the only decent meltdown player on the team, but note that everyone here has only played that new game once. This is a lovely little redemption arc for the MCC 19 Cerulean Candy Canes, which Fruit and Sam were both on. That team made Dodgeball and then lost. Could they take the win this time around? It's very much possible, although they aren't the strongest team in the event for any game. They are on average either 2nd or 3rd in around half of them, including Parkour Tag, Sands of Time, Sky Battles, Survival Games and TK to Other Side. All of these are statistically top games for Fruit except Sands of Time, where Sam and Eret carry instead. So the Purple Pandas must try and pick as many of these as possible and late. The 3rd place team unfortunately barely missed Dodgeball for this list are the Green Geckos with Jojo Solos, CPK, Smallish Beans and Good Times with Scar. It's going to be fun to see Jojo and CPK take a dynamic split leadership role. They're both fantastic PvP and movement dominators. Now, with Smallish Beans, we've seen Joel reach top 15 in the past, including MCC's 21, 22 and 23, but occasionally he finishes significantly lower than this when on less competitive teams, like in MCC's 18 and 19. He somewhat fills the gap with this team for team and communication games, a game category which historically Jojo and CPK do less well in. Finally, despite landing in 40th the previous event, Scar can pull through as a potential underdog and exceed what we've previously seen in his stats, most likely in a similar way to Joel in team games. The Green Geckos are statistically the best rocket speed rush team and 2nd best in the event in Ace Race thanks to CPK, Hole in the Wall thanks to Jojo, and Sky Battle thanks to Joel. His MCC 23 pop-off helps with this. Here are the top 2 teams that could very well enter Dodgeball, although in actuality any of the 10 teams could make it into the finale. This is just my gut instinct. Our runner-up team are the Yellow Yaks with Puns, Antfrost, Shubble and Blushy, very similar to the MCC 18 Aqua Abominations, but with Blushy this time instead of Gumio. The Puns and Antfrost duo should be very scary to other teams. Both are PvP/movement juggernauts. We can typically see Puns hit the top 5 and Antfrost, if not top 5 then perhaps top 10, and both display exemplary leadership skills. Shubble had teamed with Puns a couple of times last year and always boosts their team's scores in build mod and grid runners, games which Puns is less confident in. To an extent, Blushy also helps with this. Although she's never played build mod in a canon event, don't forget her great communication in MCC Rising and MCC All-Stars. Obviously, this is the #1 Ace Race team in the event by the statistics, with Puns being currently the 2nd best player in this game. Incredible combat mechanics from both Puns and Ant also make this team statistically the best in Sky Battle across Season 2. And in 1st place, although I don't expect a huge lead from them, the Cyan Coyotes with H-Bomb, Tubbo, Critic Zeus and Kara Corvus. Some may call this a hot take, especially with loads of predictions placing this team out of Dodgeball, but I think it is still possible for Zeus to maintain a streak of always making it into the finale when not teamed with the rest of the Simmers. H-Bomb, as we know, is an amazing team influencer. We must congratulate him on his 1st place individual in MCC 24 where he teamed with Tubbo. They made it to Dodgeball last event and lost. Perhaps they will return to this event with more motivation to try and win. I can see Tubbo averaging between 11th to 20th for individual placements. Same goes for Zeus. He's been on a giant training arc and should be determined as always to strive for another victory after he proved himself in MCC 21. Kara should be another top player to look out for. While she has had some weaker teams which in turn has hindered her individual performance, 25th place in MCC 23 is just one way to show us that she can sometimes break out of the bottom 10, and with another good leader in H-Bomb to assist her, she could break even higher, thus benefiting the team overall. Best meltdown team statistically, Zeus being the 2nd best player in it, although he's only played it once. Also 2nd best team in Rocket Speed Rush thanks to Tubbo's impressive scores in that game, and 2nd best in Sands of Time, of course thanks to H-Bomb. I think what you should take away from this is that rankings are starting to become more and more unpredictable, and that's a good thing because it shows that teams are becoming more and more balanced. You know, looking at my own ranking, I still feel unsure about how low I placed the Red Rabbits. Maybe they should be a couple places higher, but at what expense? See, if I move a team up a few spots, who should I move down? Even as I'm recording this, I haven't made up my full mind, and that's okay. Remember, these are initial thoughts, and they will undoubtedly change as I see which teams are putting in the most pre-event practice and which games will be announced, and for which teams they'll benefit the most. I might post my final predictions right before the event starts in the comments below, so go join me there to discuss these epic teams. Well, I've been your host. I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable, and I'll catch you all in the next MCC video. See ya!